What's good, Lunarians? Back again with another episode of Mythological Mondays. Today's episode is episode 7 of the series. And today we'll be diving into Frostfall. Now, the thing about Frostfall is there really wasn't a lot of Elestrals based on mythology in this set. So some of them will be outside Greek mythology, more focused on like lore than anything. After this, we'll be going into Daybreak. I don't know if that will be 1 or 2 videos, but that'll complete the Elestral side of things. And then there may be 1 or 2 videos going over the runes of the sets, because right now I've been focusing on the Elestrals, and then we'll move into the runes. And then after that, we're kind of done with Mythological Mondays until Moonrise comes out, and then we'll keep doing a new episode every time, or we'll do 2 episodes every time a new set comes out, because I'll do the Elestral side of things. Unless there's tons of it, then I'll do more videos. And then the runes, to kind of keep the consistency going on there. But today we'll be going over 8 Elestrals, so let's get right into it. First one, we're going to go into Cryoscorch. Cryoscorch is one of the starter deck mascots for Frostfall. It's a 14/5 Elestral, really powerful. When you special ascend into him, you can destroy all runes on the field. And then you can expend your whole spirit deck to force your opponent to expend 5 spirits. Now, normally you wouldn't want to do that unless it's going to give you the win. Otherwise, you just messed up on everything. Really powerful beatdown. His deck is very aggro because the more Elestrals or more Frost Spirits in your graveyard, the faster you can ramp up and ascend. So, for Cryoscorch, there is no Greek mythology dragons that kind of fit him. But if I were to pick one of the Greek mythology dragons, there's one called Typhon, who is known as the father of monsters. For Typhon, he tried to overthrow Zeus to be the ruler of the cosmos. He failed. And then Zeus made and turned him into the constellation Draco. If Cryoscorch is based off of that, that's awesome. If not, it's an educated guess. But, so outside of Greek mythology though, I did look. There's 2 other dragons that can kind of fit him. So you have Nidhogg, who is from Norse mythology. But when I think of Nidhogg, I can only think of Lord of the Rings, so it's not as great of a fit. There's just more Norse, and some have associated him with Frost. Then the other one is based off of Japanese mythology, more Shinto side of things, named Kura Okami, who is a dragon and deity of rain and snow. Now, I thought that one fits really well for Cryoscorch, considering when we first started using this deck, in order to respond to Tsunami, a lot of people would misenchant Cryoburn with a water spirit instead of 2 frost to avoid Tsunami. So I think Kura Okami would be the best fit for this, outside of the Greek mythology side of things, because of rain and snow. He's a dragon, and a lot of people probably misenchant with water. I thought that was a cool tidbit. I wanted to stick with it. Now, Morfrost. Morfrost is the very first titled card series that we received in Elestrals from the set. Morfrost comes in 4 different forms, if I remember correctly, with the possible 5th coming. I know there was a design contest, but I don't remember if that gave us one of the original Morfrost. I don't think it did, but I remember there was a contest for one, and I don't remember what happened to it. So Morfrost, he's a 1/3. He's a powerful beater because he gets more powerful for every Morfrost in the underworld. And a lot of Morfrost send themselves or others to the graveyard, so it beefs up Morfrost, Abominable. Unfortunately, for the longest time, Dense Fog and Gorgon Gaze just completely demolishes the Morfrost engine. They have started topping recent tournaments after the reduction in card removal or rune removal. So it's interesting to see them come back, despite Dense Fog and Tsunami still being played. Granted, they're not played as much now as more and more Lunar are being introduced into Elestrals. So, Morfrost Abominable, I chose him out of all of them because a lot of them aren't monster, what's the proper word? Mythology based. One's a bat, one's a snake, and the other one is like a mini Hydra, sort of, with only like 3 heads, kind of. It more has like 3 mouths. But I felt Abominable would be the best one to talk about. There is no Greek Abominable Snowmen, so we're going to focus on the Himalayan mythology, or folklore in this instance, of an Abominable Snowman. Morphrost leads more into the snowman side of things than the abominable side. There is an Elestral that we'll talk about in a separate video that comes out called Pulsar. He's more the abominable, terrifying snowman more than anything. This is just like a Frosty if he was a monster. So Yetis, in case you didn't know, they're basically Bigfoot, but they live in the Himalayan mountains. Hence, Yeti is what they're called, or abominable snowmen. Yeti is the proper term for abominable snowman. They're just giant apes almost, I guess you could say. There really isn't much to talk about them. If you know what Bigfoot is, just think of a Yeti, just white, Bigfoot in white, and that's about it. They're probably more hairier for the cold. Next, we have Frostfall. I don't remember if I talked about Infernix. I'm pretty sure I did. If I didn't, that's a complete oversight on my part. Frostfall is another phoenix. Instead of it being the traditional fire phoenix, this is a ice phoenix. Ice phoenixes really don't have much lore behind them. They're just a separate subtype of phoenix. So Frostfall is a 2/3. Frostfall is really good because what it does, it brings back a 1-cost spirit Elestral from the underworld. That's usually used for your cryolings to try to get back cryo burn. In case your hand is stuck and you need to ascend into an Elestral but you have no 1-cost, you use a Frostfall, bring an Elestral so you can ascend. It gets you out of a lot of gems. I use this in my Frost deck myself. It does cost you 2 spirits, so if you expend, and then your opponent Gorgons it, you're out 2 spirits, but that's where Cataract comes into play, who revives your spirits. So what's really cool is, so in case you didn't know how Phoenixes rebirth, they erupt into flames and then turn to ash, then usually from the ashes rise the Phoenix. Hence, reborn from the ashes, but that's a rune, and we'll get into the runes, like I said earlier in the episode in a separate video when I talk about runes. So for Ice Phoenix, what I would imagine is, it would kind of erupt into like blue flames. I know it shouldn't be flames because it's Ice Phoenix, but it'll be like blue flames, and then of it turning into ash, it turns into hail drops, and then from the hail or whatever is the Phoenix. I think that would be a cool way to do it. I was thinking like a mini snowstorm happens and it rains and snow comes down, but I think hail would probably be better. Or like it could still snow, but there would be hail, and the hail would start piecing together and form the Phoenix. I think that would be really cool. Not a fact that it does that, but in my head that's how I would envision Frostfall activating its effects. But that's enough about that. Next, we're talking about a combination of 3 Elestrals from this set. There are others. We are talking about the Liths. So Frostfall introduced the Liths. So you have Moralith, Verdalith, and Lovelith. So easiest way to put this, if you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, these are basically the monarchs of Elestrals. They're easy to cast. They all have special conditions. And then when cast, each one has an ability that can kind of help you get back into the game depending on what it is. So Moralith, his doesn't really help you necessarily get back into the game. It's you send the top 5 cards of your deck to the Underworld. There are cards that are being slowly introduced that prefer to be in the Underworld. So Moralith doesn't see a lot of play right now, but it will in the future, I'm sure of it. So Moralith is a 6/4. When you normal cast it, you send the top 5 cards of your deck. Next we have Verdalith. Shout out to Shady Penguin for using Verdalith today in the first video of the Lestriad. I rooted for him, I voted for him, and he won, so I'm really happy. So Verdalith is a 7/3. When he's normal cast, if an opponent has at least 4 more spirits in their spirit deck, when you cast it, you can return up to 4 Earth Spirits from your Underworld to your spirit deck. Great regeneration card. Excuse me, give me 1 second. If I haven't said it, it's a 3/7. So, fun fact about the Liths, their attack and defense right now all add up to 10, which I think is a really cool thing to balance it out. Alright, so after Verdalith, we have Lovelith. Lovelith is the only Lith right now that has been limited just because of its ability to pop a rune. So when you normal cast it, you can target and destroy a rune. Really powerful. It helps stop Nexus decks. And so they limited it because of its power. So in the recent ban and limit list, there was a lot of removal. and they affected Earthquake, Resting on Your Laurels, and Lavalith. So those cards were being run rampant, and it made it hard for people to play 2 or 3 cost Elestrals, which allowed 5s, or Big Body Beatdown as the official name for it right now, because they're thinking about trying to change it because people don't like the name Big Body Beatdown. Because they're really not big bodies. Because if they were big bodies, they'd be 2 or 3 cost Elestrals. But a lot of these 5s running decks are just single cost Elestrals. And they're 5s. That's why they're called 5s. But for new players that are being introduced to the game, going off the term 5s doesn't really portray much for the deck. This is me going on a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. So they limited Lavalith. I disagree with the limit. I think they should have started with 2 and go from there, not hardcore limit it to 1. But that's just me. Oh no, I think Lavalith they completely banned. No, I don't know. Wow, I've actually completely forgot what it was. I know Rushings and Earthquake went to 1. I think Lavalith? I don't remember. I've completely lost it. No, they banned Retire, they limited Lavalith, Rushings, and Earthquake. Yes, that's it. I knew there was a ban and I couldn't remember. But yeah, I disagree. But Lavalith, one of the only lists that's limited right now. I'm curious to see what the next 2 that are going to be introduced, hopefully Moonrise will be. But we'll see. This is, in my opinion, one of the best. At least from this set, definitely. There's another Lith that's in the next set that we'll talk about that I think is really strong too. I faced it a lot of times, and it can get out of hand. So, fun fact about the Liths, they are based on golems. There's nothing Greek mythology related to them. They're more Jewish mythology. So, what golems are, they are animated anthropomorphic beings created from inanimate matter, such as clay or mud, and brought to life through words and rituals. So, in this case, it would be brought to life through the power of the gods. So, Lavalith would be born from the rocks around a volcano. Verolith is mossy rocks. Morlith would be frozen rocks from the tundra, stuff like that, brought to life, which I think is really cool. The Lith part comes from monoliths, which aren't golems, but they're like monuments and statues and stuff, so it kind of fits. You couldn't call them golems in this game because you want like one word, and Lavalith and the Liths flow better. I really like it. Next one is Locagon, who is the water nexus of the Triptyle line. It's a 2/6. It gets +1 for each water in your underworld. So its ability kind of contradicts itself because the more in your underworld, the powerful an attack it is. But when you return 1 or more water from your underworld to your spirit deck, you can target and destroy a card. This doesn't receive a lot of play lately. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Excuse me. It pairs well with its first line as Dratagua, which heals too. So every time you heal with him, you get a pop and destroy a card. Really great combination. So Locagon is a dragon, however, it's not a Greek dragon. Once again, I'm borrowing from another lore. This is Scottish lore. This is the Loch Ness Monster, if you could not tell. Hence the name Loch, as in the Loch Ness Monster. A lot of the cards in Frostfall just weren't based on Greek mythology, like most of the others from Daybreak, the others. So I just chose the other mythology cards that were kind of introduced. Locagon is pretty cool. I did run this, like I said. It's not as good as some of the other water 2-cost or 3-cost Elestrals out there. Final Elestral for the evening, Dracodoodle. A lot of people think Dracodoodle is a cockatrice. He's not a cockatrice. He is a basilisk. I will say this again. He is a basilisk, not a cockatrice. So the description of a basilisk: a hybrid creature, head of a rooster, tail of a serpent, and sometimes wings of a dragon. Cockatrices are similar, but they're not Dracodoodle. Dracodoodle is a basilisk. I'm pretty sure it was also confirmed in main Discord that Dracodoodle is a basilisk, because there's a card that was revealed through the Creator Clash promos called Drasilisk, I'm pretty sure, or something like that, who is a cockatrice because he breathes fire and is more of a chicken or rooster. That's the cockatrice. Dracodoodle is a basilisk. Alright, I've harped that enough. Just want to get that through because people still assume otherwise. So Dragodoodle is an interesting 2 cost. You can expend a win in order to suppress each Elestral on the field until the end phase. And then on top of that, when you destroy an Elestral while it's suppressed with Dragodoodle, your opponent expends 3. I use Dragodoodle, I'm pretty sure, versus Stellar Kristoff in our pack battles. I know I use Ibufen. So those 2 cards pair well along with Sandstorm, where you swap all monsters, Elestrals on the field to defense position. If you then have Helios Chariot Ride and your Dragodoodle out on the field, you pop and destroy one of the strongest monsters on the field. Your opponent expends 3. Great combo. Hurts for burn. Suppression is making a rise, especially with Lunar doing a lot of suppression. I would not be surprised if Dragodoodle will be run with Fulgorix, who is a Lunar Wind, because if you're already going to play with Wind, and you're already going to be suppressing stuff, why not have Dragodoodle? I really hope we see more Dragodoodle. Dragodoodle is great. That is it for Frostfall, everyone. It's a short video. We did it. That's it. Next week, we'll be going to Daybreak. Daybreak maybe 1 or 2 videos. Got to do research to see how many. That one I'm sure is going to have more because the set's basically based off of Jason and the Argonauts. So I know there should be a decent amount of Elestrals in there that we'll be talking about. Some of them will be double tacking like the lists that are in Daybreak, but that's fine. I'll try to come up with something else. I know there's plenty more. And then after that, we'll be going to the runes. This is SorenPlays, signing off. See you again. Bye.